So in this structure of the atom, if you notice it, in last class we studied, what is the last class, last chapter name? Anyone? Atoms and molecules. Is it right? Correct? What is the last chapter? Atoms and molecules. Correct? So now on the atoms and molecules, if you have noticed it, we have studied one theory called as Dalton's atomic theory. Do you all remember, everyone? Yes, please.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So we'll begin with that only now also. So you might be notice it, atoms and molecules. We have studied what is Dalton's atomic theory, and he has been given around 5 points about what is atom and how the atoms behave, what is the nature of the atoms. That is all it is. Now, in that, the most important point which Daltons stated that atom is the smallest particle of any substance and it is further indivisible. Is it right or wrong? I want response from you all. Is it just industry? Clear? So Dalton's atomic theory says that the atom is the smallest particle of matter. Is it correct? All of you? Yes, please. You can open the book and you can see smallest particle of any substance, and the substance is further indivisible. Is it yes or no, Harish?
Sir, it is divisible, sir.
He said indivisible, very faint. I'm asking
Yes.
Daltons. Is it yes, no? Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Understand, Hari? I am asking Dalton's atomic theory. I know it is indivisible, but Dalton said that every matter is made up of atoms, and atoms are the smallest particle. Read the first point of Dalton's atomic theory. Is it yes? Akilan? So he said atoms are further indivisible, means we cannot divide the atoms further. But the Dalton's atomic theory was able to explain the two laws of chemical combination. Do you remember what is the chemical combinations? Anyone? All of you? We studied so many days. Two laws of chemical combination. Anyone can tell?
Law of conservation of mass and
Law of
constant.
conservation of mass. Very good. And another one?
Law of constant.
Law of constant proportion. See, you all need to involve in the class. What we studied only we are asking. So law of constant proportion. So these are the two laws which we people studied. So which is even explained by Dalton's atomic theory. So now if you notice it, here Mr. Dalton has failed. You might remember drawbacks of Dalton's atomic theory also we studied. So as Dalton had explained, atoms are the smallest particles of the substance and they are further indivisible. And also he explained laws of chemical combinations, that is what law of conservation of mass and as well as law of constant proportion. But he could not explain the cause of that some chemical reactions like ionic reactions, which only ions can take part, or transfer of electrons can take place. So in class, that chapter, when we are practicing formation of compounds, we are writing the chemical formula by using some method. Have you remembered that? Anyone can tell me what is the name we used to call it as? Chemical formula we are writing. Yes, please.
So crisscross method.
Yes. So by using crisscross method, we people has written different compounds. Like some compounds we used to call it as covalent compounds, and another kind of compounds what? Anyone? ionic compounds. Do you remember, Metakshri? Yes, please.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So remember, all of you, if only electrons are sharing between the atoms, then we used to call it as what compounds? They are the covalent compounds. Now, if the electrons are transferred means in the sense of what? One must be donor and another must be what? Acceptor, or we will say receiver. So then the compounds formed by them is called as ionic compounds. We written or not so many examples. Yes, while you are practicing crisscross method, please respond. Yes, please.
Yes.
Now, if you'll notice it here, Mr. Dalton or Dalton's atomic theory is failed to explain why these atoms of, like particularly these ionic compounds, okay, cannot like different atoms in a different from each other, and why the atoms they combine to form the molecules. Mr. Dalton's atomic theory cannot explain, and also why these ions can take part or transfer of ions takes place. He don't have any kind of explanation. So these are the two major drawbacks of Dalton's atomic theory. What is the first one, everyone? So he don't have explanation, or Dalton's atomic theory does not explain why some chemical reactions, like particularly ions, takes place, or a group of ions will transfer. That is what we used to call as ionic reactions. Ionic reaction is taking place. It does not explain. And second one, we all knows that some atoms, for example, if you take like hydrogen, oxygen and all, what is that? Is there in single element or two elements will be together? Anyone? Two atoms will be together. Is it yes or no? Two hydrogen atoms will be together. That is called as hydrogen molecule. Yes or no? Be active.
Yes, sir.
Oxygen also same. Two oxygen atoms are together. That is what we used to call as molecule. So Dalton's atomic theory failed to explain why these atoms are differ from each other, and also these atoms, why they are combining to form the molecules. So this is also does not explain by the Dalton's atomic theory. So if you notice it, till the end of 19th century, so scientists could not explain the exact structure and important properties of an atom, because till that not discovered the electrons, not discovered the protons, not discovered the neutrons, which are a part of the atoms. So till Daltons, people used to think that who is the smallest particle of matter? Everyone? Yes, please. Who is the smallest particle of matter?
Atoms.
Atom. And they used to believe that atoms are not made up of any other thing. Atom itself is the smallest particle. But later, 19th century, some other phenomena also point out towards to divisibility of atom. Means the Dalton's theory has been disproved or disapproved. So as Dalton said, atoms are indivisible, but it has been proved that by using a different experiments by different scientists. Okay, so they found that divisibility of the atom means atom can also be further divided, because every atom is made up of three subatomic particles. What is the particles? Anyone? Atoms is made up of. There contains electrons, protons, and as well as Yes, please. Neutrons.
Neutrons.
So that is why the structure of an atom was explained by the scientist on the basis of the experiments. Till Dalton's theory, Dalton's atomic theory and laws of chemical combination, everything is like a just theoretical assumptions. Most of the points of Dalton's was not proved practically. Everything is like expectations or like what we can say, assuming, predictions we can say. Okay, remember that. What is the name? In this chapter also we'll make so many predictions. So predictions we can say, just like guessings. So sometimes these predictions may become true or sometimes may it is disproved in the later days. So that is what exactly happened here also. So as after a lot of experiments by the scientists, so they have been found that the divisibility of the atom, why do different bodies become charged or rubbing? So you might be noticed in class 8 that I have only taught you people some natural phenomena. Do you remember that? Anybody? Some natural phenomena. If you rub the comb to your dry hair and if you put it near to the small bit of papers, it will show attraction. How many of you remember that activity? Yes, please. Comb and dry hair. All of you? Do you remember that?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So the same thing like so after so many kind of experiments in the end of 19th century, like different bodies becoming charged on rubbing. That is what we will say friction. So due to friction, bodies are getting charged. Bodies are turns into charged bodies, getting charged, and also gases, you can see, conduct electricity at low pressure. Why do gases conduct electricity at low pressure? Why does the electric current cause chemical change? So that is what we can say. In chemistry, we'll study class 8. I will remember a chapter name called as Chemical Effects of Electric Current. Anyone? Yes, please. Chemical effects of electric current. What is the name called as? Anyone? That name one, we used to call that process name called as something. Any one of you? At least one from class 8. That process called as, at least I will try to make you to remember by drawing the diagram. 2 gram electrolysis. See, that is what I am expecting. So when I draw the structure, you remember. That's good, nice. So that is what electrolysis we can say. So these are all the things you can say, like how these bodies are getting charged, why the gases are conducting electricity. Okay, gases conduct electricity at high pressure or low pressure? Yes, please. Conducting electricity at low pressures. Okay, low pressures, and this chemical, this electric current causes chemical changes. That is what we will say electrolysis. So how does this current flow through the metallic conductors? Like you can take copper wire and as well as our aluminum wire, or we can say conductors. How this charge is flowing, how they are conducting the electricity through the metallic conductors. This all the things has been proved with a lot of experiments in the end of 19th century on. So the first indication about divisibility of an atom and charged particles as constituents of an atom came from the study of static electricity. Even this is the one which I taught you for in class 8. Static electricity, due to the rubbing of non-conductors like plastic or some kind of other than conductors, due to the friction, they will getting charged. That is what we can say static electricity. And the condition and the properties of charge which enables conduction of charges. Like we can say, due to the friction, electrons are exchanging like one between one body to another body, and they are turned into charged bodies. So that is what we can say static electricity. So to perform the static electricity, to understand the charged bodies, so we have been done that experiment like rubbing the comb with the dry hair, and if you place near to the a bit of papers, that all the papers are showing attraction. Yes or no, guys? Yes, please. All of you. So that is what we can say one of the example for static electricity. And also you might be noticing in class 8, still I remember a inflated balloon. You have taken one balloon, and that balloon you have been rubbed with some silk cloth or some other cloth, and if you keep it to the wall, it will stick for some time and later it will fall down. Do you all remember that, everyone? Omar, Danishka? Yes, please. Basically, the balloon won't stick to the wall, but if you rub with a silk cloth or some other wool cloth or something, and if you try to keep it to the wall, it will stick to the wall for some time, and slowly it will be, after some time, it will be fall down. Do you remember that, guys? Yes, please.
Yes.
Yes. So these all the cases, if you have taken a dry comb is rubbed in the dry hair, or this balloon is rubbed with the silk cloth, in these all the cases, what is happening? What is the conclusion you make? So everywhere you notice it. If you take a comb and as well as a bit of papers, so as we all know that when we rub in the dry hair, so the charge is exchanging, means in between the dry hair and as well as comb, electrons are transferring, and due to that, comb is turns into a charged body. Before it is uncharged body, so it will turns into the charged body. So if it is a charged body, it will exert some amount of force. Due to that only the bit of papers are attracting towards to the comb. After some time, they will be falling down. And same way, this balloon is sticking to the wall for a certain period of time, and later it is falling down. When we rub with the silk cloth, it will turns into charged body. So this is what the observation we can notice it. So on the basis of these observations, we can say that two uncharged bodies are rubbing together. They will get charged or not? Yes or no? Please respond. Yes, all of you. So if you take any kind of two uncharged bodies, if you rub each other or you rub together, they get electrically charged or not? Yes or no? No response. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes. You take any kind of rod. You take glass rod with wool. If you take another kind of any kind of plastic rods or a ebonite rod, we can say, you rub with the silk cloth. So many experiments are there. So any two bodies, when the two uncharged bodies, that is what you have to take it. When two uncharged bodies rub together, so they will turn into what, guys? Kaushik? They will turn into get electrically charged. That is what? They get electrically charged. Shruti, understand, Shruti?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now, what is the conclusion you made from this? You must tell me. I don't want to tell you. What conclusion you can make from this? So this is what activity I said. As I told, if I take a dry comb and rub in the dry hair, they will turn into charged particle. To experience that, I am showing that the piece of papers are attractive. Same way, a balloon is rubbed with a silk cloth. I am showing that a balloon is sticking to the wall for a certain period of time. So what is the conclusion you can make from this? Anyone? Mr. Gokul? Yes. So the conclusion which we can make here, observe, is very important. Please remember, what is that electricity called as? That is called as static electricity. Clear? So this electricity called as static electricity So the conclusion made from these both activities, either the comb and as well as this balloon, the charging of bodies and rubbing shows that definitely something is transferring between them. Is it yes or no, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So before their uncharged bodies, due to the friction, due to the rubbing, understanding, rubbing means what? What we used to call as friction. So due to the friction, there must be transfer of some particles. Why I am saying there must be some particles? During that activity, no discovery of electrons. Do you understand, everyone? Methods. So we know that it is transfer of electrons, but when the scientists perform this, they don't know that it is electrons. Later only, somebody has discovered the electrons which is present in the atom. Understandable? Everybody? So, what is the conclusion we can make from this activity? The charging of bodies and rubbing shows that there must be transfer of some particles from one body to another, which proves that these particles are not the atoms, but some small charged particles. Is it right or wrong? Yes. So the charged particle, what charge? Negative charge or positive charge? Later we will study after discovery of electrons. So all of you remember in these activities, what is the conclusion we can make? Atoms are not transforming, but we can say some of the charged particle is transferring between the two bodies. That is what the conclusion we can make it. So that is why this activity always proves that on rubbing, the body gets charged. So always when two bodies are rubbing, the bodies gets charged. And the charged body attracts the uncharged body by creating opposite charge in it. So that is what the point you have to remember it. Now, I want to ask you one general question. Let me see how many of you will answer. Always we are saying from class 8th, class 9th, again I am saying, rub the comb with the dry hair. Why can't go with the oily hair? Anyone can tell? Let me see who is. Why we need to rub with the only dry hair? Mr. Kaushik, Harish, Gokul, Mr. Noor, any one of you? Why we need to rub with the dry hair always? Why can't we rub with the oil hair? Mr. Sanjay Khanna? Yes, please. Suppose you are walking on a road, suddenly some kind of banana leaf, or suppose you are in our house only. Why your toilets will be slippery in nature? Anyone? Will fall down in our toilets or in our house also. If water is on the surface or oil is on the surface, will fall down. Why? Anyone?
Frictions.
Yes. What happened? Friction. What happened to the friction? Is the friction increasing or decreasing? Yes, please. If suppose when you are walking on the surface, I pour the water, you will fall down. What is the reason, guys?
Less friction, sir.
That is
Friction.
understanding.
Friction
So, you know, in motors and all, you see bicycle and all, we'll put the grease, we'll put the oil and all to reduce the friction. Yes or no? Class 8, reducer taught you methods of reducing the friction. We will use oil, grease and all. Do you remember that?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So when we are rubbing the comb with the dry hair, there is no oil surface, so it will increase the friction, so that bodies will charge very fastly. If you are rubbing the comb or any kind of pen, anything with the oily hair, oil will reduce the friction between them. So even you rub half an hour also, body will never be charged. That is the reason always we will say which hair? Dry hair. Clear? All of you? So That is what you have to remember. So because of
Yeah.
hair, it will reduces the friction. So that is the reason we'll say dry hair, but of course let it be. So as I told in this all the activities on rubbing, the bodies will get charged, and these charged body, it will attract the another uncharged body or any another opposite charged body by creating opposite charge in it. So now again another question in our mind. So after this one, immediately scientists are thinking, what is this charge and where does it come from? That is what it is the question. So of course it's nice. You are rubbing in our dry hair, you are getting it is turns into charged body, a bit of papers are attracting. Thus everything is so beautiful, it's nice. Then immediate question, what is it? Either it is a positive or negative because nobody knows by that time. What is the charge? And where does it come from? Always question, where does it come from? So then that could only happen if the atom is divisible and consists of charged particles. It was found that the charge was due to one and only one thing. What is that, guys? Everybody? Due to the electrons. Clear? So when these electrons move out of any body, all of you remember this point already so many times I told, once again I'm saying. So later they have been found that what is the charge? Electrons. Where does they come? From the atoms. Clear, everyone? All of you? What is the charge? Electrons. Where does it come from? From whom, guys? From the atoms. So when these electrons move out from the atom or move away or move out from any atom or any body, they create what charge, guys? Positive charge or negative charge? They are loss of electrons move out. Anyone? Yes, please. Positive charge or negative charge? They create positive charge on that body. Understand, Akilan? The chapter 3 also I have taught you. Those who are donating the electrons, what will happen? Yes, please. Chapter 3 we studied positive ions and negative ions. Who will be positive ions? Who will loss of electrons? Yes or no? Please respond. And negative ions, who will gain the electrons or receives the electrons. That is what you have to remember. So the electrons create positive charge on the body when the electrons move out from the body. Same way, the electrons create negative charge when they will create negative charge. Anyone? Yes, please. All of you. When they receives when they arrive or when they accept or when they receives, that is what it is. Please write it. Those who are donating means electrons are moving out from the body. We can say positive charge. The electrons are coming to the body. We can say negative charge. Please write the 2 points. Once it is over, then we can further proceed. All of you?
Yes, sir.
Note the 2 points. Till here, anybody having anything doubt? Ask me.
No, sir. No doubt, sir.
Okay. So now, shall we proceed further? Now, in the chapter, it will begins with this point only. What is that point? A body who is electrons are moving out from the body. It will turns into positive charge. A body where the electrons are arriving towards to it, it will turns into negative charge. So, in this one, After this discoveries by the scientists, after the experiments only, so one scientist name called as Mr. J.J. Thomson, okay, has been conducted an experiment. That is what the first thing we are going to study, discovery of electron and cathode rays. So please all of you keep heading, discovery of electrons and cathode rays. Meeting is going to end, join back, and cathode rays. Okay, so who has been conducted to this experiment? This one, Mr. J.J. Thomson. This is one of the most important one in our government exams also. So that experiment name called as discharge tube experiment. Please write the notes. Which Arun are understanding? Kaushik. So what he has been done means the discharge experiment by Mr. Sir J.J. Thomson proved that, I will explain that entire experiment also, as you don't have, but you will say, they will say that you will study in higher classes, but nowhere you will study. We will study that. Okay. So he proved that atom is not indivisible and it is made up of subatomic particles. That is what smaller particles are present inside the atom. So on the basis of various experimental studies, it was concluded that atoms are not